Hello, this is David Havlicek, and this is my precedent analysis. And for the project, I chose the Ennis house, which is designed by Frank Lloyd Wright in Los Angeles. It was built in 1924, and it's actually quite considerably big, 6,000 square feet, but it is only a two-bedroom house. And it has a very specific style, and that's probably the most that can be taken from this project is the unique style and um, it's also its construction methodologies. But anyways, I'm going to be focusing more on these key takeaways. Um, so the Ennis house, one of the biggest lessons to learn about it is the exterior material, which is also used in the interior. It's a precast kind of block similar to CMU, which is unheard of more in the time that this was constructed. It's been had a lot of restoration since. It isn't a perfect system, and we have better construction methods today. But some other successes in the project are the design of the building, especially with how it's incorporated with the climate of Los Angeles. And the climate is typically more forgiving to material deterioration when it comes to buildings because of the amount of rain they receive and how bad weather gets. There's no freeze thaw, for example. Um, it also allows for this bigger, more colossal structure to happen. Uh, there's worker housing on site, which is a unique aspect to explore. But overall, the house is a story of modularity and how implementing a simple geometric pattern, repeating, the same block over and over again, which is very economical, also can be done in a way that is curious and creates spaces that are much more dynamic. And it also could be noted that the facade material of the house connects to the facade material of the topography or the retaining wall, which also provides this effect that makes it seem like this house is even bigger than 6,000 square feet, which is already huge for two bedroom. All right, and I'm not going to go specifically into all the details of these sides, but I go into depth about materiality, which is the block system primarily, but also there's some unique interior finishes that are done throughout. The quick little side slide, I guess, is film appearances. There's Harrison Ford on the left and Blade Runner. This house has been in a lot of movies and has inspired a lot of other show sets. I go and some architectural drawings here, including main level, just general layout here, and some edited uh, architectural plans, sections, elevations, and of the looks like main floor and also a site area. So more details into the wall assembly, and was a site plan created for the NS house just over Google and Photoshop, not done by me, but I like that it shows specifically the unique roads and surrounding characteristics compared to the site, which doesn't, the old plans from 1924 to the 1950s when it was on the National Historic Registry. Those plans don't really go into detail as much for surrounding context because of course it's changed. And this was a pretty nice illustration created by Tanager George. And he does a lot of illustrations in the Los Angeles area. And this is one of his earlier illustrations. I encourage you to look at his work. It's a lot of urban planning related stuff, but a much more playful look at what the house looks like when cut through. And here is a plan provided by the National Park Service Historic Registry when they were first evaluating it, 1950s. Oh no, 1969. Okay. And here's a dining room plan. There's not many plans shown, at least easily accessible on the internet, but looking at specifically the dining room space, which perhaps it's better to see here. It is lifted up off the ground. There's a few steps going up to it. There's a lot of careful design specifically with the dining room, which I could probably go into later as well. One of my overlay drawings is just looking at two different spaces, circulation and living space. Circulation is in the blue, living is in the pink. And this, I try to show one thing when you think about a CMU building, you think about a big block, a big rectangular block, and that's not really so appealing in a modern world, but there's ways to incorporate a precast block in a way where it is more playful and curious, I think are the words that I use. And so I'm trying to show in this one the different tiers where it's set back the next layer of tile, 10 inch by 10 inch tile is set back, and it provides more depth to the building than just a simple block. Now, the style of the building is Mayan Revival. I'll go into some aspects of Mayan architecture which influence Mayan Revival. And looking more at Mayan Revival, these are some pretty nice Blender renderings created by Micah Wiersma, who's an architect, project architect now in Michigan. And this is probably some of his best artistic work on ArtStation that he had posted, and I wanted to share those because it shows pretty well not the specific building. This isn't the Ennis house, but it shows maybe some characteristics of the style that Wright has brought into the Mayan Revival style. And there has been structural instability problems. I go into depth with that, and also some more specific interior design decisions. And overall for application, this is a great case study for eco-friendly, cost-effective materials, especially for if you buy materials in bulk, lowering those construction costs, and trying to explore connections between circulation and living spaces and how those connect to the outdoor spaces that maybe are more communal. It also teaches us a lesson about designing for earthquakes and climate change. The materials weren't really good from the start for this project, just because of technology limitations. But we have a lot more that we can do today to account for these unpredictable weather events and look into how buildings are connected to each other. This is a single family house, so it's not really connected to other buildings as much, but it actually does have some buildings across from the front entry courtyard space where the cars come in. There's a servant quarters and garage that are separated from the house. And even those buildings are still semi-connected because of how the courtyards are all, actually this picture here, the pool, if you go in the opposite direction behind where the photographer is, that goes over the front gate to the servant quarters. So there's a lot of connections between the other spaces on the property. And also just a fun one that I put in there, designing for entertaining. This is certainly a building that's meant for entertainment. The current owner of it, who is a private owner, they're not showing this building, but he's a millionaire in the marijuana industry, and or maybe even billionaire. And I think one of the main purposes that people who are looking to homes like these is for entertaining with their unique effects, and also the interest of it being in film. Maybe that's a possibility. Being in the Los Angeles area, there might be some opportunities for film. And here's my bibliography, and thanks for listening.